Connection is the dialect. I be knowing, and this is my co-host.
Hey, J-No the Sun King, we in here, and I just want to let y'all know, I show up to the court with jeans and boots on because I don't play.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how you feeling today?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I bit that, though, like Jay-Z did.
You know,
on a little skit. Yeah, I bit that.
Well, you know what?
What's that?
I dropped out of school because they had recess because I don't play.
Ooh. Bars.
You know. Before we get started, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Voila Vodka.
Voila.
Make sure you drinking and just drinking. Nah, make sure you drink responsibly. You feel me?
Be careful, y'all. Be careful.
Yeah, we had the little frame of reference about, the disconnect with kids, children, society, and parenting,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest disconnects.
It is one of the biggest disconnects. And we're going to introduce our guests on today. We have Never Sorry sitting here. Why don't you introduce the people and tell them a little bit about yourself?
I'm Never Sorry. I'm a aspiring Beaumont rapper. Okay. Hoping to not be known for being in Beaumont, obviously.
Yeah.
It's my mama right here. I'm really just happy to be on the podcast.
Let's talk about your name. Never Sorry.
Never Sorry came up. I came up with it because the persona I put on in rap is like unapologetic.
Right.
Like I have no reason to apologize because like when I'm rapping, like I ain't got nothing to lie about.
Yeah.
I don't be like one of the people that's getting on the track or something like that, like speaking about gangs and all that right there, but knowing I'm not in the gang.
Yeah.
Like usually if I make a violent song or a drill song, it's usually like, like I take it there if I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like that. And Never Sorry is different for me because in person I'm like quiet, and a lot of people say I'm overly humble. Yeah. I think that's better safe than being boastful.
Yeah.
But Never Sorry, he gonna be outspoken. He gonna say what he feel like saying.
Yeah.
Gonna get it off his
you
chest.
Say he, do you refer to him like your third person?
Yeah.
Is that you?
No.
It's not.
No, it's not.
So it's like a alter ego.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, all right. So let's get into the topic of today about the disconnect of the older people and the children of the society today. What would you say?
I think before we start, I think just people get older, forget.
Yeah.
Like they forget, like, bro, you was doing the same thing.
You was,
like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like it ain't nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
To be honest,
yeah.
like, it's the only thing that's changing is the lingo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And the fashion.
And the fashion.
And that's coming back around. Like everything leaves out and then it circles back.
Right. Right. And then, even with the kids, they don't realize, like, hey, we've been there too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't understand me. You never done this.
Yeah.
Bro, done
like,
that 20 times.
Yeah,
dog.
like, yeah. Still doing it.
Still doing it. Try
even with the music, though, like when y'all be playing like certain songs and stuff, like something come on in the car and I hear a sample and I be singing, they be like, Mama, you know that song? I'm like, y'all stole from us. Yeah. You stole.
We make it better.
Oh, come on.
And guess what? And then our parents say, oh, you stole that from us.
Yeah.
That's from the OJs.
Yeah.
That's from the Isleys. You know what I mean? So
it's the same thing.
Even with that terminology, my pops used to be saying that. And after a while, I kind of, in my head, like, stole?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We come from you. This passed down. Yeah. This is a legacy. What you talking about?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I'm like, this ain't no story. Yeah.
I see what you did there.
What you mean? What y'all mean? We ain't stealing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So touching on the disconnect between the youth and the older generation, I would say one thing is communication. Communication. The communication is off because the lack of understanding, like trying to understand. A lot of people, and I had to learn because I was raised by my grandmother. So the world that she was raising me in was a lot different from the world that I was growing up in. And you got to remember, she raised like two different generations. So not only did she raise her children, there was one world, and then my generation came along. There was like a whole another world. So it's just a lack of understanding. What would you say you experienced in the household as far as like understanding, or not even just in the household, just in general with your peers, the things that y'all talk about in your circle, with the understanding between you guys and the parents, that
Me personally, I was lucky enough to have some, understanding parents, and I have to go.
No, don't be just too my horn because I'm sitting there.
I'm not tooting the horn. We had our ups and downs, but compared to others, like I feel like my run was easy. But generally speaking, I say it's a whole bunch of like I say the disconnect that I see a lot is the age thing. Like, since I'm older, you got to respect me, but I don't have to respect you. Like, I don't have to view you like as someone that deserves respect.
Right.
So I say that's a big problem, a really big one.
Yeah.
Because the people that's teaching that to their kids, they was treated like that.
Yeah.
So they genuinely don't see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And then that's where the biggest disconnect is from what I see.
I get that a lot too.
I agree. We actually kind of talked about that before. That adults think they don't have to treat their kids with certain respect.
Right.
But if you're most teachings and most lessons is done through action and not through words.
Right.
That's, you have those saying, don't do as I do.
Do as I say.
Something like that. Yeah, you know what I mean? But ultimately, that's like a parent that smokes cigarettes and tell their kids don't smoke or don't drink. And they keep preaching and preaching and preaching.
Right.
But they grew up in a household seeing their parent drink and smoke. So when they go through their issues or their turmoil and they trying to, in their head, come to conflict resolution to what they going through, they're going to be like, oh, man, my mama used to smoke or drink, and she'd be chill, she'd be cool after that. So then after now, they drinking or smoking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's matter of fact, it's statistically proven that if you grew up in a household with parents that smoked, like from the time to that 9 out of 10, most of the kids are gonna become smokers too.
Yeah.
So that's like I said, that goes a long way. And then like you said, that respect. If it's not shown back, the person not gonna want to respect what they're saying.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And then see, even in the household that I grew up in, we didn't have a voice. We wasn't allowed to say this. Children, y'all go in the room and play. Y'all go in there and play. It didn't matter what you think. It don't matter what you was going. Even if you try to express these views and these point of views that you, girl. It's like your point of view is not taken seriously. Your opinions are not taken. How you feel is not taken seriously. I pride myself in raising my children up in a household where they were able to be vocal. I always had an open door policy with them, as far as like coming in and talking about whatever was that they had a disagreement. We would literally sit down and have like round table meetings and we'll talk, and I would tell them some things that I didn't like about some of the things they were doing, and I would always end the conversation with, what can I do better? Do everybody understand what am I seeing of myself? And they would give them an opportunity to say, well, mama, because just like this is my first time mommying to you. This my first time. I'm in my spiritual journey too. And parenting don't come with no student handbook. So this is my first time being your mama. This your first time being my child. So, we have to mirror each other, and you need to be able to point out some things, some of my flaws and stuff that I didn't see either, and just like I'm pointing out to you. So I always left that open door so they understanding. So talking about like some of your peers, with their parents, like what are some of the things that y'all talk about that they face?
I ain't gonna say no.
As far as like understand, of course not. I'm talking about, but to attack the.
Right.
I say like the biggest situation or the worst thing that I've experienced was like parents being jealous of their children and like, not actually coming out and saying it. I've seen that a lot. Like, I guess just being jealous of youth overall.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Because like me personally, like growing up the way I did, I just never thought of like the scenario where a parent would be jealous of a child.
Yeah.
Because like usually if people have a reason to be jealous of your child, it means your child doing something right. You should be proud.
Yeah. But
the parent developing jealousy is just wild. And a parent that's jealous of their child can do a lot of mental damage beyond repair. Like a bunch of like trust issues, just mental stuff in general, depression. Yeah, depression. So yeah, the worst one was being jealous and also not believing that depression is real. It was a mixture of those two, and it kind of like just stirred up in the pot and just blew up. Yeah, blew up. It was real bad.
I think you do hit a lot in black households. You ain't depressed. Depress these dishes.
Yeah,
depress them so and so.
Yeah,
they do get swept under the rug. Yeah. And I want to say too, kind of to the point we was talking about silencing. Just because you silence somebody, that don't mean they change their point of view.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what they're doing to those kids, silencing them. So you really can't even come to no resolution because they didn't speak their mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You wasn't having a platform to go back and forth to have a dialogue.
Yeah.
And really try to get to the
Yeah.
to a concise conclusion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of what it is. But instead, it's just like they silence. They gonna hold that, and they gonna get older. They gonna continue holding that.
It's just gonna fester and grow.
It's gonna fester. Right. Yeah.
And blow up in your face. And then this is when you see the children acting out of what's the word? I don't want to say disobedience. Rebellion.
Yeah, rebellion. That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah. They want to rebel against all of these stipulations and walls and stuff that you set for them. These ceilings. They want to break through them. Mm-hmm. They want to break through them. So, yeah, communication, understanding. Are we in agreement with this, as far as like the communication and understanding?
Most definitely.
We're in agreement. Okay. So let's talk about listening.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of jumped, but yeah, go with it.
Let's talk about listening, y'all. Listening to understand, not listening to respond. I've been guilty of this before. Sometimes when you so entrapped into your emotions and how you experiencing something, sometimes you can close your ears to what the other person is trying to say. You got to sometimes take a moment, just kind of reflecting on like personal issues, because I would have moments where my kids would tell me, "Mama, just listen. Just hear me out. This is my perspective." And then I could better understand, what it is, But as far as like I think the listening skills are poor. And a lot of people, I don't think people realize how poor their listening skills are.
Right, because listening is a part of communication.
Yeah.
And they say most businesses, 80% of most companies have communication issues. So imagine this is a corporate company, 80% have a communication issue. So imagine how high it is on a personal level.
Right.
You know what I mean? And most people aren't taught communication skills at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not taught in the classroom unless you go to take a speech course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you in college and it goes along with your degree plan.
Yeah.
So listening is a part of communication. They kind of go hand in hand, you know what I mean, in general. And if you don't have that ability,
no go,
right? And it creates a cycle.
Yeah.
So then, because you never taught it to your kids, so the kids ain't gonna teach it to their kids. And, until somebody breaks a cycle, it's another cycle that gotta be broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the whole thing about listening, a lot of people misinterpret it like you just sitting there like just looking at a person like talk. But like a good part of listening and the whole thing about listening is understanding.
Yeah.
It all comes to that because you could listen to a person all day and not understand them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not talked about enough, nor taught about or taught.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem, to be honest. I feel like a lot of altercations and like just falling out between child and parent, it would a lot of them would cease if people would just take the time to listen, step out of like what they got going on, and personal things and mental things that they may have going on, and just listen, understand like this is a new day and age, like I was just saying, different things have a different amount of pressure on it, because like the pressure on like clothing and stuff like that, I say it's pretty much the same, like being out and how people perceive you, like with the stuff that you wear and stuff like that. But now a lot of pressure has been put more so into social media. It wasn't that bad as it was like back then with y'all, because social media wasn't a big part of people's lives.
Right. Now
it is. And like when kids try to communicate about social media, things that go on social media and the stuff that they want so they could be presentable on social media, they're listening, but they're not fully understanding what it is.
Right.
They're not fully understanding like the importance of.
Who's not understanding?
The parents. They're not understanding the importance of it because they like, it's just a phone.
It's just a game.
Or it's just a game. A game.
I know. I see where you're going. I see what you did there.
Oh man.
Shots are fired.
But yeah, like it's a lot that goes on into it. It really is.
I mean, and I take into consideration like I know that you're building bonds with some of these people. Some of these people you've been playing on the video game with for years and years and years and years and years. So y'all build like social bonds. with the people. So this is some stuff because I didn't have to deal with it. We played outside.
Yeah.
So and this is kind of like where my understanding kind of dropped off a little bit because we was the generation that played outside. They was the last generation actually to play outside because they used to they actually played outside. Like they actually played outside, but like towards I say maybe like what 13, 14.
Yeah, like when middle school hit, kind of like
start getting into like video games and stuff. So it is kind of hard to come to that medium. Yeah. Come to that medium of understanding or whatever. So coming from different worlds, I think the compromise is to have understanding of how things were then and how things are now, and kind of put them together where it could be a healthy balance where you can merge them.
Right.
So you have like the moment where you doing social media or you doing whatever it is that you're doing, but you also, because you don't want to be so tapped into this particular thing to where you losing touch of actual reality, even though this has everything to do with reality as well, but you don't want to lose touch of reality because sometimes you can do that. So you just got to have that balance.
Yeah, because social media and games and stuff like that, it can make you lose touch of reality.
It can make you, yeah. It was a word that I had. No, go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to say too, even with going along with awareness, is that times continue changing and things continue evolving. You know what I mean? And most parents, I could even think of some of the stuff that my parents in their generation that they was wasn't too fond of.
Right.
And things gonna keep changing. And if we hold them to an old standard, I feel like they won't be able to thrive in the new world.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we have to be able to evolve too along with it. You know what I mean? And try to develop some type of understanding for it as long as we can until they're thriving into their adult life and kind of letting that ship it sail and until they got it. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of people in our generation don't want our kids on technology too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's all in the school system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And AI is constantly evolving, and you know what I mean. And a lot of the jobs are going from blue collar jobs to a lot of techie type jobs, and there will be more opportunities in techie type jobs. You know what I mean? So, to try to keep them to the old standards is almost to hold them back to some degree. Yeah. So I guess what we need in between is what I always say. Yeah. Balance. You know what I mean? It's finding that balance. I
agree. So they kind of I think they kind of touched on awareness.
Yeah.
As well.
I thought that's where we was at.
That's where we was at. Okay. Well.
My about to say, if not my bad, cool.
I'm following.
My bad, cool.
Let's talk about what we done with awareness.
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's talk about judgment.
Okay.
Judgment. A lot of children feel judged. They feel like the parents are judging them from a standpoint that they keep going back to understanding that they don't have a understanding on. What is a good way for a parent to give their child constructive criticism without making them feel judged?
To be honest, not bashing. Like don't come off in a very bashing way.
Right.
And don't pull something from your past and just be like, oh well, back in the day we ain't do that.
Yeah.
But hey, y'all just in here doing it. That's weird. You can't just be like, oh, back in my day or back when this happened, back in the gap. You can't starting off a sentence like that. You gotta have a certain type of child to be able to take that. Not everybody can take something like that.
Yeah.
And constructive criticism come in many different shapes, forms, and sizes. But don't come off very bashful.
Yeah.
And then sometimes constructive criticism is it can be taken wrong by the child. And then they can go off and then they can blow it all up to this terrible thing oh, my parents is judging me, but really they just giving constructive criticism and they just can't take it.
Right.
So it's really complicated when dealing with constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because you do got the parents out there that go overboard.
Yeah.
And I just criticize and they hockey hating and bashing.
Yeah.
And then you got the ones that's genuinely trying to criticize their child to help them and shape them and mold them for society, and they just not wanting to take it because they just want to do what they want to do.
Right.
So I say it's very
I can see it. I can see that on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
On both ends, because I've been on both ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've been on both ends. I was that when I reached maybe 15, 16, 17. I just kind of feel like y'all can't tell me nothing. I'm working. I'm making my own money already. Like even at this age, and I'm making executive decisions at this age. You know, as far as like major decisions for my life, for somebody else's life. I'm responsible for somebody else's life. So I really just kind of, I felt that way. But even on the other end of it, I had so much to learn. But it put me in a predicament to where I was closed off from the elders too, because they didn't really know how to approach me. You know, she come off like she got it, you know. So they kind of gave it. I just really wasn't as approachable. Yeah. And it wasn't until I crossed that line to adulthood to where I started being a little more humble. But life had to humble me to do that, though. It didn't just come from somebody telling me, you need to humble yourself. I had to go through a few things. I had to bump my head in a couple of places where I had to that's what kind of softened me. And
yeah, I heard that a few times. Like, you don't listen, life gonna humble you.
Life gonna humble you. Yeah. What they say, a hard head make a soft ass.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. That's what they say. So, even with all of that being said, I'm grateful for the person that it, you know, formed me to be today. But I'm also grateful for the understanding of trying to understand things from the both perspectives, because we didn't come from a generation where they was trying to understand things from the parent and from the child's perspective, you know. So yeah.
I mean, I believe that definitely that's having understanding is going to bridge the gap. And I think that after having these dialogues, having these conversations, doing a follow-up, and really trying to see how that child internalized it.
Yeah.
So that way you're not guessing, you know, assuming I said what I said. I know they ought to know what it is. You know, like let me really see how you spit it back to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure we all understanding. You know what I'm saying? There's a mutual understanding going on. You know what I mean? That you receive what I put out.
Yeah.
So
and see the way I look at things is like you may have came here through me. I was the vessel to get you here. But at the end of the day, this your human experience. Yeah. I can't run your human experience. I have my own human experience that I have to run, because I have to be accountable for myself when it's time for me to transition out of here. I got to make sure that my soul ain't going in shame, or I have to make sure that I serve my purpose here. I can give you certain tools and I can water you as much as I can. I can do all of that. But at the end of the day, this is still your human existence, and we all have to lay in beds that we made for ourselves. I'm still living with decisions that I made when I was your age today. Yeah. That's the big part. And
with that, a lot of with what you just said, with parents living with the decisions they made in their youth, and they notice that their kids are starting to make the same mistakes and stuff like that. Parenting ain't easy. I'm fully aware that I understand that, because you know, you got, especially the single parents, you know, you just like it's almost a 3-income economy. And you got the single mothers, the single fathers out there that are taking care of families, their families, stuff like that. I commend that. It's really hard to do. For like going out there making money, and then sometimes you might even have to have like multiple side hustles to make something else to like slide by. And still living paycheck to paycheck. But I could see where like the parents may come off as like pushy and like overbearing and stuff like that, but they're genuinely terrified that their kids might mess up their lives like down the line, and like not make the right decisions and stuff like that. So I feel like with that too, parents are getting a lot of unnecessary hate when the only thing they doing is like, it's really a normal human reaction, reacting out of fear. When you react out of fear, it's not going to be rational.
That's true.
You have to be trained to react rationally out of fear. And people ain't got that training. They ain't go to the military or nothing like that. That's true. So I feel like, reacting out of fear, and they getting unnecessary hate just for trying their best from what they've learned to love their kids.
So let me ask you this. What do you think would be the best way to approach a situation like that? A parent sees a child making a mistake, a potential mistake that they made. Like, what do you think would be the best way to approach the child? I know it's probably different strokes for different folks, but, you know, kind of generalizing. Maybe
I say being completely transparent. Like, even if you got to pull up bank statements and show bills and like the money you're making, and how it's not adding up, and how you still have some extra money you still owe, how it can cause you to go into debt. If it don't strike fear into your child, if your child is old enough to comprehend what's going on and what you're showing them, it's their decision at that point. And as a parent, you're going to have to let go. You're going to have to let your kid pump ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As you know, I agree.
Yeah.
You-
I see the proudness all over her face.
Yeah.
Just glowing over there. Just a glowing.
I want to kind of touch on something that you said too, the fear of your children going out and making bad decisions that could affect their lives. I'm not gonna say bad, for the rest of their lives. Another fear, which is a healthy fear, but people don't really talk about, is the fear of me making mistakes. This is the part that people don't talk about, because my life is still lifing.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning too. I'm still here on earth to learn too. So I'm trying to teach my young ones how life should look like while I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I still don't really have a clue. It's really kind of like the blind leading the blind, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a fear of, I don't want to be a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make good decisions. I want to make great decisions, and at the same time, even the decisions that I'm making or the decisions that I have made, are these good decisions? I don't even really know. And then I got these people here that's depending on me to have their answers, and I don't even really have the answers. And so this that transparency thing that you was talking about, because I think there's so much more respected when you show your children that part of you. Mm-hmm. I tell them all the time, I don't know. I don't have no problem with saying I don't know. You ask me a question that I don't know the answer to, I don't know.
We're gonna look it up together.
We're gonna go look it up together. Hey, that's a round table discussion. We about to discuss this, because I don't know. You know, so that's always been a fear that me personally that I had. Like, just far as like the decisions that I'm making, is this a good decision? I don't know. And how they gonna look at me? Mm-hmm. They looking at me like, how she gonna look at me if I make this decision? I'm looking at y'all the same way. How they gonna look at me if I make this decision?
Yeah, me and Taylor, we never came from a judgy standpoint. I feel like that by doing that, being completely transparent, it kills two birds with one stone.
It does.
Because one, you showing your kid what past mistakes can do to you down the line.
Yeah.
And also, you're creating a bond with them. Like, you're growing with your child, finding out things that you don't know and they don't know.
Yeah.
So I feel like, they work.
What they say, take a smart man to learn from his own mistakes, and take a wise man to learn from the mistakes of others.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
I like it.
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Yeah. Absolutely. So, well,
I'm cool.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the disconnect.
Did we touch on forcing?
Forcing? Oh, you say you cool. Oh, okay. Well, I'm like,
I was cool.
Yeah, like I ain't know. Okay. I'm sorry, everybody. Like, I thought J No was taking me kind of,
Nah, my bad. I meant like on that topic, on that point, that bulletin.
Let's talk about forcing. Let's talk about forcing your philosophies on your children.
What do you mean by philosophies?
Your beliefs, your box. Mm-hmm. Your parent put you in this box that they was never able to fight out of, putting that ceiling over you. Let's talk, because that happens a lot.
It do.
So, I had this person ask me a question one time, this guy, and he said, Jay, as much knowledge and wisdom you have, and some of your beliefs are outside of what's taught in society in the school. He was like, do you teach this? Do you teach this, or to the youth or to your kids, or do you just kind of let them go through their own experience? Mm-hmm. And my response was, I want them to have their own experience, right? And not be so pushy on what I believe in.
Right.
Then his rebuttal was, he pretty much made it black and white. He said, if you don't build these things in them, then the world will. And they'll go whichever way their peers in society. If you don't, push these, these ideas. So it gave me a big I ain't gonna lie, I'm still shuffling between that.
Somebody told me something similar too. Somebody said, we was talking about people and their spiritual journeys and how they jump from this religion to that religion to this, like all these different things. And somebody said, if you keep eating from this table, this table, this table, this table, then you're going to end up finding yourself in a situation to where you're going to be confused. And this is where the reprobated minds come from. Somebody said that. But I want to say something to what you're saying. It's one thing to show somebody your perspective, but it's another thing to force your perspective on people, because we don't have to all play the same instrument. If you on the drums, I'm on the violins, he on the keyboard, we can still all play together and make beautiful music. That's how orchestra go. I can tell him, this is my perspective, TJ, and this is what I feel like you should be doing, and this is what I feel is a better way to do this. But if he decides to go in a different route, as a parent, I don't feel like I should be ridiculing.
Right.
So, but I understand what you're saying though, because if you don't instill it, I understand that you have to set that foundation. That's basically what he was saying.
The foundation,
set the foundation, but there's a difference between setting the foundation and forcing.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
I mean, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say religion is a foundation. I would say the foundation would be like teaching your kids not to believe everything, like stand their ground basically,
Right.
and don't go against their moral compass,
Right.
and then you can let them out into the world and let them choose what they want to do.
But he talking about the moral compass though. He's saying setting those,
Setting the moral compass,
setting that moral compass.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. I do agree with moral compass. I do agree with setting the moral compass with, but I don't believe you should be forcing stuff like religion. So let's separate the two so we can all have an understanding. Because there's moral compass, and then there's religions and philosophies.
Right.
So moral compass, is that philosophy too?
I believe they definitely intertwine.
They do.
Because I believe your philosophies basically alludes to your moral compass. You know what I mean? And at the same time though, your moral compass is separate because it's what's in you already. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's when you have the back and forth battle when someone's trying to put a religion on you, a philosophy, and it's not lining up with your moral compass.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what happens to the masses. Most people, they go along with it to get along.
Yeah.
But they know on the inside of them, it ain't lining up with their moral compass. And that's when you have that cognitive dissonance to protect them.
Yeah.
From it reaching their moral compass, for them to continue to get along. You know what I'm saying? To go along and get along.
Yeah. So the moral compass is more of a mental thing, and like you're the whatever you're doing in the religion is gonna shape how you act physically. Because your moral compass, you can't escape your moral compass, no matter what religion you're in.
I want to use an example, a hard example, right? So at one point, segregation was legal. At one point, it was okay to hang black people, right? So this is I'm going into a space of I'm a Caucasian male now,
Right.
a Caucasian being, you know what I mean, and you knowing morally it's not right to be hanging somebody and burning somebody, but this the law of the land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a perfect example of something, a moral campus, something that's taught. Oh, it's okay. They're less than a human. They're 3/4 of a human being. You know what I mean? And you know it's not. You see this person hollering in pain. You see this person suffering. You know what I mean? And people are unbothered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They taking pictures. They smiling in front of the camera. In some occasions, you got a group of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you got the group that when you can hear it now, and as they talk about it, it bothered them. But they got along to get along.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
I
agree. Because morally, you do know deep down inside that's wrong.
Yeah.
You got to know that. But I've heard some people that say some people on this earth don't have that self-check button. They don't have that moral compass. They feel they got people that kill animals just to hang their heads on
Big
the
game
wall.
hunters. The big game hunters.
You
use
know,
the head
so
trophy.
so you would think.
So that would be a good. Oh my God, the word. Have they become desensitized?
Right.
You know what I mean? Have they become
Right.
Is that a situation of being desensitized?
Yeah.
Or is that a case of them having no moral compass? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have the answer for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just kind of just
came up because it's a good thing to kind of hone in on.
Yeah.
Though it's a good thing, but I agree with what you said though, because they made a whole lot of sense. There's that moral compass on the inside, you know it's wrong, but then it's the laws of the land.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's accepted.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's deep, y'all. That's deep. So let's talk about how does it look when you're allowed to breathe, when your parent finally steps back and allow you to breathe and live in your decisions.
I mean, if the child is the child that the parent is stepping back from,
Yeah.
not saying they're gonna be like, oh, finally, and they experience life, and it's just like afterwards they're gonna start blaming the parent. I
Right.
seen that too.
Yeah.
I seen that too.
Yeah.
It's like, I could be friends with you, I could be cool with you, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Like, bro, you weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your parents stepped back because they just got tired of dealing with you.
Yeah.
They stepped back. You bumped your head on the same step
Yeah.
because you under the staircase, just sitting there bumping your head in the same spot over and over again.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and blame your parent for stepping back.
Yeah.
You weird, bro.
Yeah.
It's just very weird.
Yeah.
And some cases, the children that like feel like they still need their parents' guidance when they step back, I could say it's a little scary.
Yeah.
It's real scary.
But do people at this, do they want parents to step back? Is the step back, when is it a good time to step back? And how do you step back without making your children feel like you just don't give a damn about them?
I think you ain't got a Homer Simpson step back. You know the little meme where you step back into the bushes and go away?
Yeah.
You ain't got to go there. Don't step that far back. You know what I mean? More or less just, hey, I'm going to let you, make your decisions, you know what I'm saying, from here. You know what I'm saying? But I believe at every age of life, if you have parents that's around, when you hit 20, that's a new chapter. When you hit 30, that's a new chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even now at 40, that's a new chapter.
Yeah. I just hit
what I mean?
another milestone.
So, yes, Lord. So, you know what I mean? Those are all different new chapters of life and stages of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So who wouldn't want if you got a good, strong support system, or somebody that's available, that's willing to build with you. You know what I mean? Even I hate to go into a business reference, but in business they teach you should always have a business mentor.
Yeah.
No matter, you can be a billionaire.
Yeah.
You still have a mentor.
Yeah.
You still have a circle of people that you build with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like even on a personal level, you should still have that,
That co-writer, like the artist had a co-writer.
But it's just more of a just, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm in your corner. If you ever do need anything, I'm letting you do your thing.
Yeah.
But you know what home, and you know where you can come and talk to me at.
Where it's real
at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to look at it like when a parent teaching their kid to ride a bike, and they kind of like, when they feel like their kid kind of getting the hang of it, they step back, but not too far.
Yeah.
Just in case they fall.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. I feel like that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you should just step back and just, all right.
Like deuces.
I see
I'm
it,
done
bro.
with y'all.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. So, well, that brings us to the disconnect.
Yeah. But before that, though, let everybody know where they can reach you. Before we wrap and tap this body.
Okay, wait. Before all that, I want to touch back on the religious stuff. I got.
Nah, we won't spend no blocks, my boy. I'm messing with you.
I want to touch back on the religious stuff because I have personal experience with Christianity.
Yeah.
I've witnessed the toxic side of it,
Yeah.
and I got a homeboy. His name Michael Denson. That's my boy. That's my.
I want to say it through that old shout out.
Yeah, so I shout out. He on the light side of Christianity.
Yeah.
He struggled with certain things, but he more on the lighter side. Now the toxic side I say was with the elders.
Yeah.
Me and my sister Tay, of course, when we wasn't like performing right in school or something like that, or they want us to do little stuff like grab the remote or something, and like I ain't gonna say we was like the perfect children. Of course, we had we was a little bad.
Yeah, and I'm just not finding out about some stuff. But,
A little bad. But they'll be like, "Oh, if you don't make good grades, you going to hell."
Hey, must put hell on.
I didn't know that they was. I didn't know that. I didn't even know this was even taking
Stuff like
place.
that. Like, if you don't make good grades, you going to hell. Oh, you don't grab the remote for me. Oh, you not listening to me. That means you're gonna go to hell. stuff like that. Like it's just weird stuff. And then like as I got older, I'm just like, I start feeling conflicted. Like when somebody would do something to me or like say something slick, I would have like a bad thought in my head, like I'm finna beat this nigga up, like bro, like you not finna sit here and do this to me. And then I'm like, wait,
manipulation.
Am I finna go to hell because I just thought that? You know, so I start feeling conflicted within my own head. I didn't feel like free nor safe in my own headspace. So that's why I stepped back.
Which is the whole purpose. It's still fear, fear based, fear mongering.
It was a whole bunch of that. I feel like a lot of people are doing that, and I know I feel like I chose a good route instead of doing the complete opposite and like going to Satanism or something like out of spite. Like I just decided to like just step back and just do with the ways of the universe. You know, what comes around goes around. And all that right there, like, but. A lot of people are gonna take a way more extreme route, and it's gonna be something like a movement.
I could see that. I've been feeling it.
It's gonna be.
I could feel it. I could feel it brewing.
It's gonna be something like a movement, and I don't feel like it's gonna be just words being thrown. I feel like it might turn violent. Because Christians got to pass the violence. And then a lot of people these days they fighting fire with fire.
Right.
So I do see that coming.
Well, you know, Christianity was forged through violence.
It was.
The Spanish Inquisition. Pretty much slavery. The good Jesus. You know,
a lot of people was hung because of that. A lot of the hanging and the burning and stuff like that. You know, our ancestors had different ways.
Assimilation, right? That's what it is.
So we had different ways. We wasn't able to speak our languages. We wasn't able to talk to the ancestors. We wasn't able to, you know, they wanted to sway us away and put us into this. And this is what we are today.
And that's how it was spread globally. Christianity was spread globally through force. So,
and it's proof to that. So anybody that want to attest against what we're saying, do your research.
Spanish Inquisition. Look that up. Google the Spanish Inquisition. And
look at different perspectives too. Don't just look at one perspective.
Most definitely. So that was a little word, a little tidbit.
It was. That was that. You ain't know that.
That was a
you ain't know that.
Yeah, we ain't know that.
You ain't know that.
Yeah. So but before we get to the disconnect, you know, let them know where they can check you out at. You know.
You feel me? I'm never sorry on Instagram. You feel me? If y'all,
I'm never sorry.
I'm never sorry. Yeah, I'm never sorry. And y'all play Xbox or something like that, hit me up. I'm so sorry on there.
That's
really
the only time he saw it.
And that's really like being funny.
It is.
Like after I win, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's what it is.
A little sarcasm. Most definitely. So the disconnect. What would you say is a disconnect in all of this?
The disconnect to me is just allowing everybody to walk in whatever walk that they're gonna walk in. Let them walk. Let people walk. I didn't had situations where I run across someone who's into a certain belief system, a certain religion, and I spoke to you off air about this before too. Well, wisdom will tap me on the shoulder and say, don't you say nothing to that person. If this is what's working for you to get you through this human experience, let people do it. And I say the same thing with as parent, as child. Walk. Walk in your walk. Walk in your walk. As long as you're not hurting yourself or any of that, you know, and you know, like self-inflicting too bad to where it's going to take your life or something like that. But I'm a real big advocate of allowing you to walk in your walk. And I think that parents should allow their children to make their own decisions and lay in whatever beds that they made for themselves, whether that's good, bad, or ugly. Because it might be even a good outcome.
Right.
You know, you might be stunting somebody's growth by trying to overshadow them and force what you want them to be doing. So I would say that's the disconnect.
Right. I would say the two things that parents got to realize, and the next generation of parents got to realize, only two things that's changing is lingo and technology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In terms of what's happening in the world, it's been happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The killings was the same, murders, anything else that was happening was already happening. The only thing back then, it wasn't such a widespread media coverage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's things that was happening that we just wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
So there was a perception of a perceived overly peaceful world.
Right.
You know what I mean? Wars was always still happening. There's war happening right now. Somebody's getting bombed right now.
Then they were sweeping stuff under the rug, even in the households.
Right, right. Sweeping stuff under the rug. You know what I mean? So I think if we have an understanding of those two things, you know what I mean? I believe that's a huge piece that can connect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Along with the other stuff we spoke on, understanding and stuff like that.
I agree.
You know, and to me, that's a disconnect.
I agree. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to the Disconnect. Never sorry. I really, truly, truly appreciate you coming in and taking time and talk to us or whatever. Y'all make sure y'all check out their freestyle too.
Yes, indeed. We are the podcast,
The Heels and Bills. Peace.
I have learned to piece together pieces that you broke. I can see through all of the deceitful things you wrote. I have managed cracking all the secrets to the codes. You swerved into my lane like you were sleeping on the road. Said we weren't indigenous and brought us here as slaves. Wrote yourself in her story and tore us out the page. Trying to cover up that you're the one that's out of place. Then wonder why my people wildin' out and in the rage. Bitch, you lied, we've been certified. My ancestors own this shit, I know that hurt your pride. I'm witnessing truth and lies unfold before my eyes. Present in the flesh, oh what a time to be alive. Understand that white folks not our only enemies. We got those against us that still look like you and me. Just because you talk that talk don't mean you're fooling me. Cause I don't need a savior long as I stay true to me.